Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all good. Can you hear me okay? Okay, can you hear me okay? Is everything okay there? Can anybody hear me? There's a couple of people watching. I'm just going to check myself, see if I can hear myself. One, two, 1, 2. Can you hear me okay? Okay, fantastic. So, welcome if you're watching or you're watching this on record. This is a Mixidown and production session. I'm going to do it live. And Savisto is providing me with this track called Satisfaction. It means a lot that he's done that for me, and it takes a lot to allow someone to really criticize your track live on YouTube. Obviously, it's all constructive, but it still takes a lot, and I'm grateful he's allowed me to do it. So check him out, Savisto, on his social media. And we're just going to mix this down like someone sent me a track. And the whole idea is to look at this and go, identify the key areas for improvement with production and mixing. So let's take a listen to the track. Okay, let's have a quick listen to the track. So, Savisto, Robin, welcome to the session. I'm going to have a listen, then I'm going to start mixing it. Okay, so for some reason we get some weird feedback, which we never got in the previous sessions. So I'll work from headphones. So great track, really like it. It's got a great vibe. Just feels like it's lacking a little bit of punch, and it feels a little bottom heavy and not too top heavy. And what do I mean by that? So I'm going to just listen to the references that you've sent me straight away, very quickly, because obviously I'll get done if they play out. But I just want you to listen to the difference between the low frequencies and mid frequencies and the high frequencies between yours and the references. You can hear straight away that you're missing that top end and the brightness, and it feels like it's got like a cover over it. That's the first thing that I hear that I'm going to look at, and we'll go to the mix. Now that could be a couple of things. That could be your room. So if you've got a load of no bass where you are, what you'll be doing is, if you've got a bass node, you'll be turning up the bass, and this is one of the side effects of what that is. So be very mindful. So I've got a great pair of headphones here. These are great. So I'm going to start mixing it from scratch. The first thing I do when I mix a track down is just balance the levels. The levels are pretty good on this track. Like I said, it's just a top end, so I'm going to mix it from the top down, actually. I'm just going to get the kick and the clap and the hat right, and then I'm going to mix everything else into that. Okay, so the first thing that I hear is the kick's quite distorted. It doesn't feel really like that kind of music too much, but I'm going to keep it there for now. But what I would probably do in hi Jenna, thanks for joining us. What I would probably do in something like this I would probably, if you don't mind, Robin, do you mind if I possibly change your kick? So I would probably go for something a little bit more kind of genre specific for this kind of track. I would go for like a 909, but quite toppy. Let's see if I've got something in here. See, something like that might work. It's a bit weird. I'm just going to keep that there for now. We'll get everything in. I'll see how it sits better with it. Let's have a listen to that now. So the kick's quite distorted and it feels a bit long to me. I'm just going to keep it in for now. So I'm going to put that in at 0. Okay, then I'm going to bring the clap in. So normally I gain stage, you can watch the video for free online. Gain stage everything to -12, fader at 0, everything to -12. And yeah, I'm not going to go into it too much. Okay, so for me, the bass, the kick isn't sounding like kind of genre specific for this kind of music, really. It's nice, it's not really got lots of punch. I like the heart, I like the clap. I'm just get the kick and the heart and the clap together first of all, because we might change them based upon everything else in the mix. So anyone who knows me knows I always start with a lead and work and make everything work towards that in the mix. And your shakers and your hats and your bongos and everything else, they're like lead 10, 11, 12. So I'll get the more important things in first of all, and then mix to those. So I will get the bass, because it is that kind of track. I'll get that to -12, and let's see what you've added on there. Okay, so you've got that on there. It sounds nice, but it's always better in parallel. So I'll create a chain. Anyone who's on Logic, it's like just create and send. So I'll create it parallel. I'll create a chain so that's dry. And it's just like sending it to a send. But what I'll do is I'll EQ it. So I'll take out the bottom and the bits that I don't want stereo spreading. And yeah. I'll put that before it. Pull it down, and then I'll add it to it. I'll just listen on my main speakers for a second, because I've got no depth of field or stereo field in the headphones. And what I'll do now is I'll isolate the bottom end, and I'll listen to the bottom end in isolation to see how the kick and the bass are working together. You can hear the kick's a little bit boomy, so the kind of boom of the kick is overlapping, is messing up with the bass. So it's kind of working. It's not too bad, but I think we can get this better. But let's get a few things in. So just to let you know that the reason why I'm mixing to the kick is because I I always want the kick to come through, and if you listen to the references, the top of the kick really comes through on all of them. And if you mix the kick, you've always got the punch coming through. So I'll keep the kick, the kick, the hat, and the clap in first of all, and then I'll mix everything leveled to that, because then that means the kick's always really punching through with dance music. Okay, let's go to your lead sounds here. So I'm thinking, okay, right now, what's the position of that in the mix? That's not the lead sound. I'm going to try and find the lead sound. But that's a really cool sound. It works really well with everything. I'm just going to have a look at the EQ on it. Okay, so they're kind of in the same position. Let me listen with the headphones off. Okay, so I'm not mixing just yet, but I'm trying to give everything a position in the mix. I'm trying to figure out what's the lead one and what's lead two. Give priority to that. Is that sounding okay, or is it coming through, feeding back through the microphone? Okay, so my key thing here is I'm kind of trying to get the sounds, and I'm trying to identify their position in the mix. Okay, and they're nice and they're great sounds, but they seem to be just not having their own identity in the mix. So I'm going to try and separate them a little bit with a bit of width and just position. That could be a bit wider, so I'm going to use ozone imager. I'm going to chain. I'm just going to stick it on first of all and see what it sounds like. That sounds really good. I don't think it needs compressing. Let's have a listen. Let's have a look. Let's give this its space. Okay, let's just obey that. So always listen to the client's reference. So straight away we've gone more in line with his references. And again, I thought it was a great track, and sometimes it can just be the room. The number one tool that I use is the fader. You know, the levels are usually the main thing that can create a better mix. And with this, you know, I've taken out a bit of mud on the bottom end on some of the synths, and I've just leveled it, and I've worked towards making sure I've got that top end and that punch, which this kind of music really, really has. And then I can introduce the sounds one by one in the mix that are less important. But what I've also done is, if you listen to it, the synths have just got a bit more of their own position as opposed to all merging into one in the mix. They are different frequencies, which is good, but it just felt like one needed to be over there and one needed to be over there. Okay, let's go to the vocals. stubbiness in there I want to get rid of. So again, I'm doing it all in the mix, and I'm listening, I'm introducing everything and listen to how it sounds compared to everything else. I'm not doing it in isolation on its own. So it is a bit loud, but that's where, because this vocal's a bit loud right now, I can really hear more of the stuff I want to take out. So I'll bring it down. Okay, that's kind of annoying me a little bit. It seems a bit manic, that, the Novation peak. So I might just try and get the mid section of that. So I'll go to the mids. Taking out of the middle of the track. So now we've got the key elements in there. Feel free to ask any questions, anybody. And I'm always referencing Robin's track because, you know, he loves his track, and that's where it's at. I'm just trying to make it punch the best that I can. So as we can hear already, it's already, you know, I've just done a bit of, you know, taking a few frequencies out, a bit of the mid-range, putting everything, just placing everything in the position in the mix, you know, from the 20 hertz to 20k, mid to sides, left to right, front to back of the mix. And that's all I'm doing, and straight away the track sounds good. It might be my feedback, sorry, it might be my room. You know, I've got a great pair of headphones, the Audis, they're amazing. But, you know, it's just about use metric AB with your references and go do frequency and character recognition, something I teach people on the course. So, you know, the kick and the bass and the mids and the highs and the top end, and compare it in your references and see, well, how's mine compared to theirs? You can use metric AB to isolate, but yeah. Okay, let's get some drums in, because I think that's all the music that's playing right now. a lot of this music, they do this on it. It's kind of not full loops, and it's a bit more, makes it a bit more skippier. So let's listen to that in the mix. Again, it's just a bit more skippier. Okay, so I'm going to pan one of them left and one of them right. Again, they're just two loops, so they're kind of clashing a little bit. They are different frequencies, but this music is a little bit more programmed, and I think when people use loops, they're really doing this with it, and they're really kind of using the sustain, take it down, so they're just a bit more skippier. They're not the, they're more, they're just, yeah, more like that, if that makes sense. See, like I'm adding that in there and it's hidden. Okay, so it's like, what is it bringing to the party? So the more that the more that you add into a mix, the more energy you're adding into it, right? And if you don't need that energy, all it's doing is making all the energy that goes into the final limiter more, and it's muddying up your mix. And what you've done there, you've added that loop in there, and it's not really bringing anything to the party because it's at similar frequencies as the other things that are in there. What you want to do is choose, even though this is 20 Hz and you've got 20k here, up here there's different kinds of frequencies and different positions left to right, and you really need to choose things that are a little bit better. And I wouldn't use too many loops. I'd start programming a few drums, because too many loops just takes away from your groove, and this music is all about groove, you know. And if you've just got that all the way through, you can take away from the da. So yeah. So a key thing to remember here is a lot of their basses aren't really loud. So the louder you have your bass, the more that the frequencies of the bass take over things. And so we don't want to really be having the bass too loud and overpowering everything else, because what you're doing is you're taking away from the transients. But the bass sounds really good. Like I said, all I'm doing right now is getting the levels right. you've added a cowbell onto your kick. So what that's going to do is it's going to add voltage to the kick. So the highest point of the track will be the bass, the kick, the clap, and the cowbell now playing at the same point. And that's where the mastering limiter is going to hit. And that's where they're going to try to get your track as loud as possible. So take frequencies out you don't need, but use your rears, because you don't want to take out the character of a sound. And, you know, all this down the bottom end, he's not bringing anything to the party except for just kind of muddying up your kick and your bass. So yes. You've got to remember, every track's different. I'm just trying to make yours work in the ballpark. Okay, so this music is about punch. It's all about groove, okay? So using loads of loops is going to kill your groove. It's important to have loops, one or maximum two, but that's why they take down the sustain of the transients. So everything's a little bit more choppier and a little bit more groovier. And sometimes I like to use a combination of drums and loops. And when you listen, get the one loop that you really like, get it right, and then play your other percussion or hi-hats to that loop. And when I say play it to it, I mean, so it's complementing the melody is always important for a groove, okay? But the frequency. So if you've got loads of stuff around, you know, 14K, get something that's at 16, 18K if you really want it to sit and have cut through the mix. But if you put it over 14K, you're going to lose it. And it's all just going to merge together. And I think that was one of the biggest problems with this. Any questions for me? So really, all the things that I'm doing you should be thinking about when you're starting the mix, okay? What's the position of everything in the mix, okay? And it's not just from 20 hertz to 20,000, it's from the mid to the sides, left to right, forwards to backwards. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm just trying to give everything its position in the mix. I think the track sounds much better. why you've got 3 EQs on there. Okay, let's have a listen to these. Don't think it needs loads of reverb, that, because there's so much going on in the track. It's just muddying it up a little bit. Okay, so it sounds better wider. I mean, there's a lot wide, so I'm just going to group that and listen to it. So what this plugin does sometimes is just gets rid of the information in the center. So you've bring it on the side. So what I'm doing is I'm adding some sides with the ozone, but that's adding a full signal in parallel. So it's adding to the mids, and that mids can be flanging or can be phasing with the original sound. And it's not necessarily what I want. I'm just looking to get it a bit wider. So I'll listen to this on and off. So if you look at this, a free plugin by Voxengo, just mute the mids. Nice. It's very manic, okay, but there's a lot going on. So from a mix point of view, we've got it to a point which is kind of ballpark. I'm going to look at the groups. Hey Aaron, hope you're good. So the mix is kind of in the ballpark now, and all we've done is levels and just put everything for the position mix. any distortion or anything like that. In fact, we've taken a lot of stuff off. Okay, so don't put saturation on just for putting saturation on. Just do it, level match it, and listen to it. Is it better in the mix? We have this thing in our head which is, oh, it makes things warmer, makes things old school. But this sample is already old school. It sounds like it's 12-bit at best. So there's that. So your mix is kind of there. I'm going to look at the groups in a minute. Okay. For me, like, the journey of the track is lacking a bit of a journey. Okay. So I can tell by looking at your project here, right? So it was just adding a hat here, adding some hats here, adding another bit here. And we're adding bits that are getting lost. So what happens is you add the bits to get lost, so you turn them up. So you don't really feel the journey working. So sometimes, like, I would have like this and then that, and then this and then that, and then that, and then this, and lots of different variations of hats along the track to make it feel like it's moving a little bit more. It just feels like it's a little bit one all the time. Same with the bass, which is okay. But then your synths, you've got a little bit here, and it just feels like there's not, you can tell with your eyes that the journey is pretty similar throughout. And then when you get to this point here, we've not even got to this point, there's so much going on that I don't hear as much like a question. I feel like it's like a question and answer. And I think that from a production point of view, this kind of music is a little bit more interesting in the way that it's not just adding blocks as the track goes and removing blocks as it's going. It's got that variation there and this variation here and that variation there, and then this variation just once and this variation twice and this variation 4 times. And what that does is, and then they work it with the drums, with what's coming in and out of the drums, and it feels like the track's constantly moving or lifting up, or when you are bringing it down, you're bringing it down. That's just my opinion. What I'm saying to you, Robin, is, you know, you're the producer, right? I can tell you about the mix, but for me, it feels like it's just a little bit like you need to pay a bit more attention to the journey a little bit more. It's a great track. It is good, and if that's what you're looking for, like a bit of a deep groover, then great, you've got what you wanted. But for me, for it to be more memorable, it needs to have that lead sound. There's no, it all feels like a part of the groove as opposed to there's a lead in there. And there is a lead in there, but it feels more like it's all part of a groove. You see, I might do something like, just take something out. I'm not saying this is what I would take out, but you see, you've got your main chord there, right, which is pretty much kind of the lead sound a little bit. It's less incidental than these, and I would go into this, I'd go away and I'd go, right, okay, I've got this, I love this, I love this, maybe do some question and answers. So here's variation 1, right, of that on its own, the variation 2 of that on its own, the variation 2 of them playing together, question and answer, you know, and then you might take out this one there and have them both playing all the way through, or take out this one there, and just make it so the journey's moving a little bit more. And you can, and I always teach people that you can tell with your eyes. I can tell with my eyes when I loaded this up, I knew that was going to be the problem. Does that make sense to you, Robin? And what do you think about that? Okay, so I'm going to work on it a bit more here. And again, this one's coming in, and I just think it's really lost. A mix, you can't, like, I can make this sound good, right? I can do the best that I can with it. And it would normally, to do this would take me about, you know, half a day, a full day. But I will mix this down for you more, Robin. I think you need to work on the journey. So, you've got all that. Now, then we've got the harp. Okay, cool. So you agree with me, right? I'm just going to do something, right? Because this is, I just think you could do with this. Let me just try and put a different kick in. I think you need a kick like that, Robin. I just think I do a lot of this music, and it's like the kicks that they have, and in your references are like 909s. They're quite short. They're not low like F and E. They're quite high like G and A and stuff like that. And then it gives more space for the bass at the bottom end. And obviously, what I'm saying now is my opinion. It's not necessarily right. If you prefer your original kick, then you prefer your original kick. You know, but most of the time when I'm mixing people's tracks down, 90% of the time I change the kick. In my own tracks, the first thing I put in the track is the kick. The last thing I put in the track is a kick, because we've added loads of different things and frequencies that have hidden the definition of the kick that we liked at the beginning of the track. And really the kick is like lead 6, right? So we need to change the kick so it works. The frequencies cut through the mix with lead 1 to 5. If that makes sense. But your tracks are really good. I just think there's way too much going on in this area. think it sounds miles better. So yeah, that what I would do then is with this, I might group them together. Command R, all drums. Really compress them drums a little bit. Okay, so I'll keep that in the kick. So I'm going to send the track back, and then what we'll do is we will. You can do the questions and answers. You can arrange the kick, and then I'll do a mix down for you on the speakers, and then we'll just review it on the live stream. Any questions, anyone? I'm just going to look at the drums. A bit of a compression on the drums. I want them to bounce a little bit more, so I might just add an LFO to that. Just to make them bounce. Do you have the API plugins? Do you know, I'll use Glue, but I would use the API normally. You've got Glue. So. It's just glued them together, but it's giving it a bit more movement. Let me just listen to it on the speakers, because sometimes the compression can really bring things in. Oh, that's weird. I was getting a massive doubling. I don't know what's going on here. Technicalities. Ah, right, okay, I'm in the way, Anna. Here you go. So what I've done is, so I have used a slow attack 10, fast release, I had it on full, and then what I did was I just listened to it. Obviously when you do too much it takes the bottom end of the kick out, but what I'm listening for is the movement of everything together to see if I like it, okay, and how it works towards the clap. And then I go too far, and I'm listening to what the compressor's doing, right? It's drawing a line, right? What's it doing to the volume of it? Right, okay, well I actually like that. Let me see what that sounds like introduced in parallel. And I like it because I can feel it compressing quite heavily, but I'm not taking away from the bottom of the kick. And because I'm doing it parallel and only at like 25%, I won't be compressing the hi-hats, and a lot of the time a lot of the time, you stereo width in mid sides, right? So what people do is when they say an open mix, like your hi-hats are out here, but then when you add compression, it can turn down the volume of these out here, and it brings your mix in, and that's what I'm mindful for. And a lot of the time, I like what it's doing, but it brings the compression in. But in this one, I'm listening to it here, and it sounds better like that, I think. For some reason, I can't play it through the speakers. But yes, a bit of compression on drums just gives it a bit of movement. I like the density of the clap as well. Let's listen to that in the mix, because that's all that matters. Yeah, I really like what that's doing. Just give it a bit more movement. What I'll do is I will put an LFO tool on that, side chain it to the kick, and I'll do it whilst I'm listening to it. And what I'm listening for is the punch of the kick. I'm not listening to the bass as such. Is the kick coming through a little bit better or a little bit worse? And when this was right down, there wasn't enough bass, so I wasn't hearing enough bass. And this is why I don't use kickstart. So if you use kickstart, all kickstart does is this. Right? So first of all, it starts here, so it's not compressing totally. Then it comes down like that, and then it goes like that, like virtually right to the second half like that. And the problem with kickstart is, and loads of people use it, is so you're taking all the bass out of this area here, okay? And I don't want the bass there, I want it there, so that's why. Well, let's listen to it. This is like what kickstart will do. Let's A B it. This is with kickstart. Without it. Can you hear that there's more sub bass in it? There's more sub bass in that now, that way. So I don't use the same LFO on every bass on every track. Every kick's different, every bass is different. Sometimes I don't use sidechain, but always, you can do this with Shape a Box, with Duck, but not with, you need to be able to control it, right? And then what you can do is just do it under a certain frequency, so you're not affecting the mids of the bass. So I'm only taking out the sub, and this is key, splitting it. So I'm not affecting anything over 170 hertz. But obviously I'm listening to headphones, so it's a little bit more difficult. But yes. Look at that, the combination of them two together is wicked. It's like a little groovy guitar with that synth. So just have different variations throughout the track. Don't have them playing at the same time. You know, I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm just saying think of question and answer with them all, and have 5 different sections. You know, instead of it just adding. Have different combinations at different times, and try and think of the groove, and try and think about that. I'm on the dance floor. I'm dancing to it. What is it? The melody that if I go, oh my God, did you hear that track that goes like this? I need to have something that's a bit more memorable. When they're a bit merged together, A, I'm not feeling it on the dance floor, I'm grooving it to it too much. But B, it's making it less like memorable and less of a lead because you've got so many of them at the same time. So. Now that's quite good, right? Because it's in a frequency that isn't clashing with the synths. So that's kind of okay. And it's just a bit more driving. So that would work. Let's see if we take that out of the mids. I know it's usually mono. That's it. I'm taking out the bottom end in the mix. I don't want this. All I want under 100 hertz is the kick in the bass, right? So I've got to ask myself, what frequencies of these acid is it that comes through the mix and gives it the characters, and just try and have just them as much as possible without losing the body and the tone of the sound. And then you need to start thinking about the reverb. So what's the reverb of the acid like reacting with the reverb of the synths? You know, what's the most important thing here? And look at all that kind of stuff, because all your different reverbs and all these different sounds are all mushing together, and it's not necessarily what I really want to do. So yeah, so I think we've got to the point where this is done for tonight. Any questions for me? I think what's going to happen is Robin's going to take it home, have a think about everything that we've said tonight. I'll send you this, well, you've got the folder, so I'll send you a link to the folder, and then you can work on the project. Just call it 1.2, and then I'll have another look at it for you. Is that okay? So this is now, this is before. here as we add them in, it's just getting a little bit more muddier and muddier and muddier. You've just got too much going on. But the key thing is, it's got the same hit and punch as the other tracks have. And that was just level and position in the mix, besides changing the kick. Okay, great. Give me a call, Robin. You've got my number as soon as this goes. But I hope you've enjoyed it, everyone. Please like, share, subscribe. You know, if you're watching this afterwards, please share it if you think it's informative. This is how I look at mixes when I'm mixing a track. It would normally take me about half a day to mix a track like this, but I would definitely go to the client and say what I've said to Robin today, and get them to go back and make some changes. If you want your track mixing live on here, let me know, or if you just want to mix it anyway, I can do that for you. Big thank you to Robin for allowing me to critique his production and his mix. That's a real hard thing to do. Thank you everyone for being very nice to him. Nice to see you all. Nice to see Aaron in America for joining us. And yes, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all tomorrow night if you're around.